Hello, if this is the first video of mine that you are watching, my name is Anna Marie and welcome to my channel. If this is not, welcome back. Today I'm going to be going over my October TBR. I have made myself a pumpkin spice latte and I'm feeling very autumnal today, so I'm excited to dive into this. Now, usually I don't make myself monthly TBRs. I much prefer to gravitate towards whatever strikes my fancy, whether that's a reread or just whichever book on my unread books shelf. However, the number of books that I have accumulated and not yet read over the last little while is slowly getting to be a bit overwhelming. So I have put together a very ambitious TBR for October because there is also a reread that I would really like to get started on ASAP. So let's dive into this very ambitious TBR pile. Starting with the first 3 books of the Wheel of Time. I said this was ambitious. So we have The Eye of the World, The Great Hunt, and The Dragon Reborn. Now I have already read these and I adore The Wheel of Time. I am cautiously ambivalent towards the show that is premiering in November, but I really want to reread the books before I go into the TV show. I know I might be setting myself up to not like the show even more by doing this because I'm going to have the plot of the books in the forefront of my mind, and therefore I am going to be comparing the books to the TV show. However, I still would really like to fit in a reread before I watch the show. I've yet to make up my mind on whether I want to watch the episodes as they are released weekly or wait until all the episodes finish premiering on December 24th and then binge them all over Christmas. Yeah. Not sure yet. Time will tell. I also don't want to, I also want to avoid any spoilers, so I don't know if that will even be feasible for me. However, we'll see. So I do know it is quite ambitious to want to read all 3 of these books in October, in addition to 5 other books that I have here on my list. So I am thinking that maybe I'll focus on rereading The Eye of the World and The Great Hunt in October, and then I can focus on The Dragon Reborn in November because the show isn't premiering until the latter half of November. So that might be a more realistic plan for me. We'll see. I am hoping that because these are rereads, it might go a little bit faster than the first time around reading it. I just realized that I didn't even talk about what the Wheel of Time is about. So I will try to give a very brief synopsis of this high epic fantasy 14-book series. Book 1 introduces us to the boys, Rand, Perrin, and Matt. They live in this small little village, and the Wheel of Time definitely plays on those tropes of farm boy turned world savior. In this world, a form of magic exists. However, it can only be wielded by females. So the male half of this power will slowly turn any male channeler insane if it is left unchecked. So part of the roles and responsibilities of the Aes Sedai, who are the females who wield this power, they need to ensure that the male half of the power is kept in check. Rand, Perrin, and Matt are brought into this world that they didn't really know existed. They're from this small little village and stuff gets real quick. And I love it. I love it so much. The next book that I really want to read in October is Kings of the Wyld by Nicolas Eames. Now, I have had this book on my wish list for months and months and months. I finally picked it up back at the end of spring, and I still haven't read it. The premise of this book sounds so captivating. You have this group of retired mercenaries who are suddenly brought back into the game for one last big hurrah. However, now they are past their prime and they've lived their lives, they've gone their separate ways, and suddenly they're all forced back together. I have heard that this has a really great sense of humor throughout, as well as some really action-packed scenes. So I might try and slot this between my Wheel of Time rereads, like between book 1 and book 2. We'll see, but I do know that I really want to finally get to Kings of the Wyld because I've seen such great reviews and I feel as if it's a book that I will really, really love. Another book that I've heard such praise about and I've yet to read it, so I really want to make the time for it in October, is Fable by Adrienne Young. Now this is a YA fantasy romance, which is a genre that I love, and it features enemies to lovers, which is a trope that I love, and it's set on the high seas, which is a setting that I really love. So I'm hoping that this one lives up to all of the hype for me. I am thinking that I might try and do a reading vlog with this one and capture my reaction to it because I've seen such praise. If I do film a reading vlog for this book, it would of course be spoiler free, so let me know down in the comments if that is something that you would be interested in. Next, I'm pretty sure that you need to read at least one spooky book in October. Like, that's the rule, right? Personally, I'm not a fan of horror, but I do love a good spooky gothic tale. So I have picked up The Vampyre by John Polidori. Now, this is actually one that I've had on my e-reader for years and years and have just yet to pick up, even though it sounds so intriguing to me. This was written in the same setting in which Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein, and Polidori is credited as being the first author to give us the sexy vampire trope. So I mean, I loved Twilight back in the day, so I feel as if I really need to read this just to give my thanks to Mr. John Polidori. I cannot wait to read this one. I did read Carmilla earlier on in the year and I loved it, so I love how I'm reading some classic vampire stories in 2021. It is bringing me so much joy and happiness. The Oxford World's Classics edition that I have here says that it includes other tales of the macabre, so I might try and space this out throughout the month to keep those spooky vibes going, and hopefully I'll finish the whole book, but at the very least I'm aiming to finish The Vampyre. Next, I'm really hoping that I'll be able to get to The Wolf and the Woodsman by Reid in October. Now, I have read such amazing reviews about this book that it is probably one of my most anticipated reads for the remainder of the year, if I'm being honest. It is an adult fantasy book that draws from Hungarian history and Jewish mythology, and there is the hint of some enemies to lovers in here, which again is something that I really, really love. I'm hoping this lives up to the hype for me, but I'm really looking forward to this one. Finally, a book that is actually a little bit similar to The Wolf and the Woodsman is Don't Call the Wolf by Aleksandra Ross. I am feeling some wolfy vibes, apparently. This book is set in a haunted forest, and I've read reviews that says it brings those spooky vibes, so I think this will also be perfect for October. It features a shape-shifting queen, a dragon, and a underrated underdog hero. So again, maybe a romance element with some enemies to lovers, but I'm looking forward to some epic world building in this one. So it's a bit of an awkward number with 8 books on my list to read. However, a fair few of them are quite chunky, and this is quite an ambitious list, so I decided against throwing 2 more books on there just for the sake of bringing it up to a nice even number of 10. It has been many, many months since I managed to read 10 books in 1 month, so fingers crossed that I manage to read all of these books, or at least most of these books, in October. Let me know down in the comments below if you have read any of these books and what you are planning on reading for the month of October, and I will be back very soon with a new video. Bye for now.